Southern Shores Town Council meeting. We apologize for being a few minutes late. There was a bad accident on the highway that slowed some people down, but we're ready to go now. If everyone would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Council, we have an agenda in front of us, and I need to make a motion to amend it, and so here it is. I'd like to move that we remove old business item number 1, which is ZTA 2601, because the applicant has withdrawn this ZTA. That's my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. So we now have an amended agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve agenda.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. We have an approved agenda. Thank you. Okay, on our consent agenda today, we have minutes from April, and we have a fee schedule amendment about a Camominer permit fee, and we have a budget amendment number 22 on page 6. Are there any questions or discussion about the consent agenda? Motion to approve,
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. We have an approved consent agenda. Now we're going to do something that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm going to hand it over to Councilmember Nielsen. You're up.
We are going to show the Door Saver program. It's a video that was created. We're going to have a little fun with this. It's not a long video. It's kind of a public service announcement, and it's up on Current TV, as you can see, as well as the Southern Shores website. Hello, my name is Rob. I am a Southern Shores Town Councilman. Public safety is one of the primary functions of local and county government. Included in that are fire services, police services, and EMS services. The Door Saver program in Southern Shores, if the emergency personnel services, whether it be fire, police, or EMS, try to get into your house and they can't, they're going to have to use some of the equipment that you may see here to get into your house. Front doors are expensive these days. Windows are expensive. And you don't want to have folks getting into your home by damaging it.
My name is Ed Limbach. I'm the Southern Shores Fire Chief. Here in Southern Shores, we offer 3 different options. The first one, what we would consider the industry standard, it's the Knox box. Typically sees on most commercial structures. And the Knox box offers a unique key system where every jurisdiction or area has its own unique key. So, for example, in Southern Shores, all of our apparatus carry keys that will only fit the Knox boxes located within the boundaries of Southern Shores. The second option would be our wall-mounted lock box. That offers the ability for you to store a key. We will come to your residence from the fire department, mount the box, program the code that you choose, and then notify the dispatch center as to its location in the code, and they will attach that to your address. What this does is if there is an event at your house, it will allow the dispatch center to give that access information to not only the fire department. The wall-mounted lockbox allows all of our public safety partners to enter. So it would be police, fire, and EMS. The last one would be the front door has a code on it. You can notify us at the fire department. We will take that code, notify the dispatch center. Again, they will attach that to your address. Should there be an emergency at your address, they can use that information to access your house without doing any damage.
Hi, I'm David Cole, Police Chief, Southern Shores Police Department. I'd just like to reinforce the fact that the Door Saver is an awesome program. And I can tell you from experience, having to kick in a door and explain to the homeowner that and they have to replace it. This to me makes the most sense. And I would highly recommend that you look into this program, especially if you live alone or if you have a loved one that you may be concerned about.
Protect your home and give first responders safe access when it matters most. To sign up for the Door Saver program, call the Southern Shores Fire Department at 252-261-2272.
Okay, now we're going to have some fun. As you know, spring is award season. You have the Golden Globes, the Academy Awards, the Tonys, the Emmys. So why not have an award for our videos in the town of Southern Shores? So we're going to establish an award for videos running on our website and on Current TV. It is heretofore known as a TOSI. You get it? Town of Southern Shores. Note, it is made of genuine gold plastic. It has a star on the chest of the statue. It is made in China and imported to the U.S. and is most likely subject to tariffs. So today we are going to award the first TOSI for the category Best Actor in a Public Service Video, now playing on Current TV and the town's website. The voting for this award was brisk. The votes were kept in a hermetically sealed empty mayonnaise jar on the top of my refrigerator. The results of the voting were tabulated by the prestigious accounting firm Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, and delivered to the Pitt Center by armored car. Councilman Botanic has the envelope containing the results of the voting. May I have the envelope, please? And the winner of the TOSI Award in the category of Best Actor in a Public Service Video goes to, oh my goodness, we have a tie for the first time in Southern Shores. And we have the winners are Chief David Cole and Chief Ed Limbacher. Could you please come forward? And guess what? We just so happen to have two of the TOSI Awards. And so this is the much coveted, much sought after award for your video work. So if I'll present these to you. Here you go.
You never checked IDs either.
There you go.
That's too funny.
No picture.
Please note, I had to order a dozen, so I got plenty more.
Thank you, Rob. That was great. Thanks for that excellent video. I hope everyone will give it consideration, take advantage of that program. Next, we have some employee recognition that's going to be handled by our fire chief, Chief Ed Limbacher.
Morning, Mayor, Council. Jim, want to stand up? Come on, let me. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to our new Chief Fire Marshal, Jim Davidson. A little bit about Jim. Jim comes to us with over 45 years in both volunteer and career fire service experience. Jim started as a junior firefighter in a small northern New Jersey town and rose to become volunteer assistant fire chief before leaving to become career fire, EMT, and fire inspector in Hanover Township District 3. Jim was promoted to fire captain and ultimately chief of department, a position he held for 18 years. The fire district is a combination career and volunteer fire department that provided fire, EMS, and technical rescue service responding to approximately 2,000 emergency calls per year. Upon retiring from the fire district, Jim accepted a position as Assistant County Fire Marshal with the County of Morris, New Jersey. Jim ultimately rose to the position of County Fire Marshal, a position that he held for 7 years before retiring and joining us. As the County Fire Marshal, Jim oversaw enforcement of New Jersey Uniform Fire Code, the inspection, testing, and maintenance of all safety systems within the county-owned buildings, as well as provided fire investigative services to the County Prosecutor's Office, as well as other local jurisdictions. The County Fire Marshal's Office covered approximately 150 buildings, 440 square miles, and included a county courthouse, correctional facility, nursing home, and a 500-seat arena. Jim is also a New Jersey Level 2 fire instructor since 1994. He specializes in technical rescue, including high-angle rope, confined space, and trench rescue. At the Morris County Fire Academy, he has been the lead instructor for teaching the New Jersey Uniform Fire Code for the past 20 years. Jim is also a subject matter expert in the New Jersey Division of Fire Safety in the area of the Uniform Fire Code. Jim and his wife, Bernadette, have had a house in Southern Shores since 2017, splitting their time between New Jersey and North Carolina. He joined us in 2020 as a volunteer, and upon his recent retirement again, as our new Chief Fire Marshal. Jim's primary task will be obviously to answer calls and assist with fire operations, but also his main job during the day will be enforcing North Carolina Fire Code throughout our town. Jim also has 2 daughters, Abby, who is a project manager living in Seattle, Washington, and Katie, who is a nurse living in Wilmington, and most importantly, a golden retriever named Bodie. So welcome, Jim. It's our pleasure. Yeah, you go ahead. You're right. Yeah. Yep.
Do you want to hold the Bible?
Nice plan.
Uh-oh.
You want to face me, though. Thank you. Please state your name.
I, James Davidson,
Do you hereby solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties imposed upon you as Fire Chief for the town of Southern Shores? So help you God.
I do.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. Next on our agenda are the staff reports. We'll begin with our Deputy Town Manager and Planning Director, Mr. Wes Haskett. Good morning, Wes.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. For the month of May, with respect to permits, there were 60 permits issued that consisted of 12 zoning permits, 19 building permits, 27 trade permits, 1 lot disturbance demolition permit, and 1 sign permit. The total amount of fees collected in May was $10,982.28. With respect to code enforcement, there were 4 warning citations mailed, 1 for a fallen tree that projected over a canal, 1 right-of-way obstruction, and 2 solid waste violations. The tree has since been removed. With respect to the June Planning Board, the next regular meeting is scheduled for June 15th at 5 o'clock here in the Pitt Center. The agenda is still being finalized. If there will be a meeting, and if so, we'll release the public notice next week. Any questions?
Thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from our Police Chief, Chief Cole.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council.
The police report for the month of May 2026. Starting with the calls for service, we had 1,401. It's about 300 less than last year. We had about 1,700. For the crimes, which are the incidents reported, we had 14 incidents, which resulted in 2 communicating threats, 1 damage to property, 6 drug-related, 2 for drug equipment and paraphernalia. We had 1 fire call, 1 intimidation call, a larceny, stolen property, and we had 9 that were traffic-related, 1 for trespassing, and then we made 4 arrests serving warrants. And 1 was involving a weapon, and that was a handgun that someone staying in a rental house left without, and the cleaners found it. That happens 3 or 4 times a year. Anyway, so for a criminal arrest, we had 11 criminal arrests, 4 for the service of the warrants, trespassing, the harassing phone calls, communicating threats. Made an arrest for stalking, which also resulted in a DVPO, which is a domestic violence protection order. And that was a violation. And then the 3 that were related to traffic, and then of course 7 for the drugs. Excuse me. And 1 was for giving fictitious information. And 1 was a violation of a carry concealed weapon. Officers conducted 109 traffic stops. And out of 109, they issued 54 written citations and another 63 warning citations. Our community resource officer started about a week and a half ago, and he's doing pretty good. As you can see, we got 39 violations of the ordinances. 38 of those were failure to display parking pass permit. And we had 6 motor vehicle accidents for the month of May. We conducted a bike rodeo. I'll try and get some pictures maybe for the next council meeting, but it was all over Facebook and everything, but it was a pretty decent turnout. Could have been better, but it could have been worse. The weather was great. The kids appreciated it, and the parents that were there truly appreciated it too. Unless you have any questions.
Were e-bikes in the rodeo?
Pardon?
Were e-bikes in the rodeo?
Actually, it specifically said no e-bikes.
Oh, okay.
And
Like
none,
read the fine
and no
print.
e-bikes came. I'm hoping that Dare County is listening to this for the schools, because I understand and I hope that they follow through with banning them from school
Right.
property.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Drive by the school today and look how many e-bikes there are compared to regular bikes. It's overwhelming. And there's some pretty nice e-bikes, and a lot of them, we're clocking them going over 30 miles an hour. But until legislation does something to allow us to do something, unfortunately, I'm afraid someone's going to get hurt or killed before they say, oh, we better deal with this now. But it's getting worse, to be honest with you.
Did you say clocking over 30 miles an hour?
Yes, a couple of them on radar, they had them going over 30. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you for all the effort that went into the bicycle rodeo. You and I went to Kitty Hawk
Yes.
Elementary School. We talked to their student council reps. This is all about, the number of people that say to me all the time, and probably other council members on a regular basis, that they're very, very concerned about bicycle safety, kids on bicycles, kids not knowing what to do in the right of way, kids not knowing what to do when they're on the walking path. So this is going to be an ongoing effort. I hope we'll have another
Right.
bike rodeo. And we will continue to communicate this effort of trying to keep our kids safe.
Yeah, it's a matter of education. As a matter of fact, we're already in talks with the school to try and have one maybe a week or 2 after school starts,
It's great.
just to kind of re-educate.
Thank you so much, Chief. Really appreciate your and your staff's effort. in
Thank you.
this. Okay.
Thanks for the award too, Rob. I cherish
It's
that.
his first plastic gold
Thank you.
award. Next, we'll hear from our fire chief, Chief Ed Limbacher.
Good morning again, Council, Mayor. For the month of May, pretty actually short report for you this month. The fire department responded to a total of 58 calls. So some of the highlights, 1 structure fire, 1 cooking, and 1 vehicle fire, 2 hazardous conditions with 31 medicals, the majority of those being general illness or weak, sick, and falls. 14 public service, which is a lot of our door saver and address programs, 4 lift assists or patient assists, and then 7 alarms and 1 canceled, no emergency, canceled en route. So pretty simple, short report, which is kind of concerning because it always seems like the foot drops, but we'll see what happens. So that's actually 30 calls behind last year. So we had 88 last year this month. Any questions on that report? We actually did have 4 of the door saver program we went out and did this month alone. So hopefully that'll continue as well. And sorry, Jim left, but just saying I'm very, very happy to have him. And I think we're very lucky that the town saw the need and the benefit that he's going to bring, because for me, it's a safety thing. He's in there seeing problems that we did not have that access before. We had Kevin, but Kevin's a very busy person. He's doing everything. And I think Jim is specific, to the fire code. And even already, he's already done 5 inspections and found a bunch of stuff, at the country club and different things that they're working together with. But the big thing is the build out at the marketplace. They found a number of problems that would probably not have been corrected. So, and that just goes for safety of the public, but also if we do have an incident there, it makes all of us more aware of what's happening and makes it safer for crews operating on the fire ground. So I'm very, very excited to have him on board. So thank
That's
you.
great. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, I just have a quick question.
Sure.
In passing along information about the Door Saver program, all you really have to do is call the fire department?
That's it. And we'll do the rest.
Okay, sounds good.
And yeah, and we'll continue to communicate that as the town, the information about that program. So thank
Okay.
you very much.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Our town attorney is next on the agenda. Anything for us today, Philip?
No, ma'am, nothing to report.
Always good
Always
news.
Good news.
And our town manager is next then. Mr. Cliff Ogburn. Good morning, sir.
Morning, everyone. I've been in a lot of those videos, but that's okay. As everyone knows, the Albemarle Regional Planning Organization at their April meeting agreed to give all of us that have a vested interest in the bridge the opportunity to work in the next year to try and find a funding source. And we have a resident here in Southern Shores, Mr. Charles Reese, who took it upon himself to write a very good letter as a property owner, addressed it to all of our legislators, both state, both U.S., as well as those candidates that are running for some of those positions. There's 31 property owners that co-signed with him on this letter, and he's agreed to allow us to use it as an example, maybe even a cut and paste for other property owners that may want to send the same letter. So I just wanted to thank him, recognize him for taking that initiative, and also share that we'll have this letter on the town website as well as a list of the cut and paste addresses. We have emails for some, and just want to encourage folks to get the word out. The other thing, or to make notice to their legislators, the other thing I think is pretty important is it doesn't just have to be a North Carolina representative. We have, as everyone knows, we have a lot of vacationers. The majority of them are from out of state. And so any of those legislators that are coming down here, or if they hear enough, maybe that will also spark an interest. So it doesn't just have to be North Carolina residents that are sending this message. And we'll continue to advocate.
Yeah, and so this is going to be another communication effort by the town. We'll make sure anybody that wants to communicate with their representatives, please do so. The louder we shout, the more likelihood we have of being heard.
Yes, ma'am.
So thanks, Cliff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Cliff,
Yes,
do
sir.
I understand that every year this Albemarle Regional Planning Board is going to vote on whether this money stays appropriated or not? Is that what I understand? So we'd go through this again next spring
Yes.
to make the money, sure the 158 million stays in the appropriate. Is that right? I mean,
Well,
this, it's not going to go away, is what I'm saying. They could pull it in a year if they decided to.
Yeah, if it was pulled in a year, it
Yeah.
would go back into the same pot with all
Same
the other
pot, yeah.
projects to try and reapply. So it would be, I guess, heard every year, but it may not be.
So this is going to be on the radar again if nothing happens for funding again next year at the same time.
Well, we'll try to keep it on the radar.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, but the problem is we'll have to go back to the foot of the, the back of the line
Yeah,
and through the stiff process, try to get designated as a priority again. And
okay.
I understand will be a tough battle. So we
So
need to-
awareness has got to be up all the time on this.
Correct.
Yes.
All right.
And I would encourage everybody, when candidates are running in the next few months and they visit the Outer Banks, ask them where they stand on the Mid-Currituck Bridge and let them know how vital it is to Southern Shores.
And $900 million.
And the need for funding.
And
That's
the-
really
and the
what
need for
this is
funding.
all about. It's.
Well,
it's-
$1 billion here, $1 billion there.
Realistically, I don't think, the bridge is going to get funded unless there's additional federal funds put in there.
Oh,
So the
absolutely.
key point is our congressional delegation, 2 senators, congressmen, and attach some sort of rider to a bill or whatever else. I mean, that's the key. So I don't think, you're not going to get the attention of state officials, and this is going to have to be probably more of a political decision, vice going through the North Carolina Department of Transportation and see how we rank in that scoring system. So that's just
Yeah.
an assessment.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is general public comment. Sheila, do we have anyone signed up? Anybody change your mind? Okay. We removed the old business item from the agenda, so we'll move on to new business. This is on page 15 of your books, Council. And I'm going to hand this over to our attorney to conduct the first of several public hearings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I now open public hearing to consider ZTA 2026-02, a zoning text amendment application submitted by the Town of Southern Shores to amend Town Code Section 36-132 to amend the town's lot recombination requirements by establishing an exclusion for development when there is no proposed increase in the footprint of existing decks and/or stairs. At this point, I call town staff to the podium.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Hornthal. Good morning again, Mayor, members of council. The next item on your agenda is ZTA 2026-02. The May 6, 2025 council meeting, council directed staff to draft town code amendments to modernize the town code. As a result, town staff has drafted ZTA-2026-02 to amend the town's lot recombination requirements by establishing an exclusion for development when there is no proposed increase in the footprint of existing decks and/or stairs. Town Code Section 132A2A, B, and C currently require all adjacent lots that are under the same ownership to be recombined prior to issuance of a building permit and/or zoning permit in some cases when development, redevelopment, or demolition is proposed. The proposed amendment would allow property owners to obtain a building permit and/or zoning permit for development when there is no proposed increase in the footprint of existing decks and/or stairs, as long as they're in accordance with all other applicable requirements, without having to go through the recombination process in situations that involve adjacent lots under the same ownership. I'll just note that having to go through the recombination process because of development when there is no proposed increase in the footprint of existing decks and/or stairs is another common concern that we hear from property owners and contractors, and why we're bringing it to you all today. The process requires a recombination plat that has to be prepared by a surveyor. The plat then needs to be brought to our office and it has to be reviewed and approved administratively by staff. There is a $100 review fee for that if it's 2 lots. And then the plat has to be taken to the Register of Deeds office in Manio and has to be recorded, and they have their fees as well. With respect to the ZTA, town staff has determined that the proposed amendment is consistent with the town's currently adopted comprehensive land use plan, and town staff recommends approval of the application. The town planning board unanimously, 3-0, recommended approval of the application at the May 18, 2026 planning board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Ask. No one is signed to speak. Would anyone like to speak? Madam Mayor, I close the public hearing.
Thanks, Philip. Council, is there any questions or discussion about this particular ZTA?
But I have a question. Wes, can you give us an example of how this comes, of what this looks like when it comes to you?
Yes, ma'am. So we'll take a situation where someone wants to repair handrails and stairs, or replace the stairs, repair handrails. Let's say the cost of the project on the building permit or the development permit application is $10,000. On the application, we'll see what the address is. Obviously, we can look either on the application or go to the tax records and see if it is one lot 1, 2, 3, or whatever, or is it 2 or more lots? As you all will recall, there are a good number of lots in the town, especially off of Ocean Boulevard, Skyline, some of the older parcels in the town that are parcels that consist of multiple non-conforming lots. They're usually, in most cases, they're 50 feet wide. So I'll see that either in the application or when I look at it on GIS, on the tax records to see if it's one lot or non-conforming lots. At that time, I will notify the contractor and or property owner and tell them, we have an ordinance, this is development, you have to recombine the underlying lots before we can issue a building permit or zoning permit.
So this is like recombining without going through the process.
So this would create an exception. What we're proposing today would create an exception for the example I just mentioned when someone wants to repair or replace decks and or stairs when there's no increase in footprint involved.
Well, if they, for instance, wanted to remodel a bathroom, they would be triggering a recombination plat, which is like costing them about $2,500, even though no footprint change is happening in the structure. So this ordinance is essentially cleaning it up so people don't have to jump through that hoop if they're not substantially altering the footprint of the structure. Or altering
Right.
it.
And this would only apply to decks and or stairs at this
Oh,
point.
it doesn't include
And
the interior?
It would not include interior.
Okay.
And I'll just say that's because where do you draw the line as to what requires a recombination and what doesn't? And we figured this was a good place to start. It's most common for folks to request deck and stairs repairs, especially in the spring. If it's a rental property, folks are making repairs, in some case, life safety repairs for the upcoming rental season. So, and the intent of the the intent of the recombination requirements is to not allow these non-conforming lots to continue to remain. So at what point do you draw the line? And we thought this would be a good starting point. Sure, we could come back and look at other ways to do it later on, like if there's no increase in footprint and the cost is less than, $100,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is at least a starting point.
I think it's a good starting point. The only thing is like sometimes the bathroom work is small in scale. You wouldn't normally engage a surveyor and whatnot to have to go get a recombination for something like that. It's more of a hassle for this homeowner. It's really the contractor. I mean, we just do the work, but it passes down the cost of the homeowner and timing with surveyors and stuff. So.
Yeah, and in a lot of, or I'll say most cases, the owner of the property does not live in Southern Shores or North Carolina for that matter. And they have to, the surveyor prepares a recombination plat, usually a surveyor somewhere local. They ship the plat to the owners in another state. They have to get it notarized. They ship it back to the surveyor or a contractor, or in some cases directly to our office. I've told them they can do that. And then it's signed by us. Somebody has to pick it up, take it to the Register of Deeds. So,
Okay, all right. Thanks.
yes, ma'am.
Council, any other questions or discussion?
You said this is a start. What goes with that after this then? We don't know.
It's really,
just
I mean,
curious.
like Wes said, like some of the smaller in
Yeah.
scale interior renovations. I mean, I have a feeling that this leads to people not getting permits on some of those interior renovations as a result of this hurdle. And I think if we wanted to try to encourage compliance across the board, a cost threshold might be, because I mean, to Wes's point, the intent of the ordinance is not to allow these nonconformities to continue. So we want to get them recombined as fast as possible. If somebody's spending $250,000 remodeling the interior of the house, maybe they should recombine the lot, you know? But it's, I don't know where that threshold is.
All right.
And that's the big question. And we'd be glad to, consider additional amendments where it says or existing decks and/or stairs. We could revise that later on if we wanted to.
I think it is a good start.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
And it's the most common thing that you probably encounter.
I think it is. Yes, sir. I think it is.
So
I had to get one to remodel a bathroom, so that's why.
I think most contractors who work in the town have had to go through this process at least once.
what you're saving is the homeowner money.
It saves the homeowner money, yes,
That's
sir.
what they're
That
doing
is-
here.
And
You're
time.
saving
And
a lot
time
of
is money as well, so.
Yeah,
it's-
okay,
I'd agree with that.
okay. All right, it's solving that problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
And from the town's perspective, again, the goal is to encourage fewer non-conforming lots. That's our overall goal.
Yeah.
In a way that doesn't impede on property rights as much as we can. That's what we're trying to do. Okay. Is there a motion to approve or adopt ZTA 2602?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. ZTA 2602 is adopted. Thank you, staff and everyone else. Next is the next public hearing. This is number 9, which is on page 23 of your package, council. Handing it back over to our attorney, Philip.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I now open public hearing to consider ZTA 2026-03, a zoning text amendment application submitted by the town of Southern Shores to add Town Code Section 36-103 to establish requirements for the approval of a reduction in minimum yard requirements based on area in building, structure, or site feature location. At this time, I call town staff to the podium.
Thank you again. At the May 5th council meeting, council directed staff to draft a ZTA that adds administrative relief as an option when errors in building occur. As a result, town staff has drafted ZTA-2026-03 to add a new town code section in the town code in the zoning ordinance, which is section 36-103, and it does just that. Discussion of administrative relief began during your consideration of ZTA-2026-01, which has been withdrawn. Council, you all tabled the decision at the May 5th council meeting prior to directing the proposed amendments, and it has since been withdrawn. The proposed amendment, which is similar to the town of Duck's reduction in minimum yard requirements, would establish that the zoning administrator may approve a reduction in the minimum yard requirements where an existing or partially constructed building or structure does not comply with the requirements that were applicable when construction of a building or structure began, provided that, and there are specific criteria, two big ones are that the error does not exceed 10% of the minimum yard setback requirement. So the only requirement they can seek relief from is a setback requirement. It would not apply to building height. It would not apply to lot coverage. And then number 2, the noncompliance occurred in good faith by the property owner and or his agent, or was the result of an error in the location of the building or other site features subsequent to the issuance of a building permit and or zoning permit if it was required. There are 3 other criteria. It's in the agenda summary you all were provided. In approving a reduction, the zoning administrator shall allow only a reduction necessary to provide the requested relief. I would like to add that copies of the administrative relief provisions found in the Town of Duck and Town of Nags Head ordinances are included in your packets. This language was taken mostly from the Town of Duck ordinance. I reached out to the planning department for both jurisdictions before the planning board meeting just to get their input on it and asked them a few questions. I asked them both pretty much the same questions. Duck's ordinance was adopted in 2004. Nags Head was adopted in 2015. Both planning departments for both jurisdictions reported that these requests are very rare. They don't get them very often. And that they have not had any issues, or most importantly, any appeals to their Board of Adjustments, where a builder or the zoning administrator said that they were or were not allowed administrative relief and the contractor disagreed to the extent that they appealed it to the Board of Adjustment. That has not happened, according to them. Town staff has determined that the proposed amendment is consistent with the town's currently adopted comprehensive land use plan, and town staff recommends approval of the application. The town planning board unanimously, 3-0, recommended approval of the application at their May 18th meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No one has signed up to speak. Would anyone here like to be heard? This time I close the public hearing. Sorry. Apologies.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Councilman. I wasn't going to speak, but Wes kind of sparked something that in my memory bank, Mark Martin, 191 Wax Myrtle Trail. Prior to 2014, when Nags Head had adopted this ordinance, about 4 or 5 years before that, we were building a house, very tight lot, planned subdivision in Nags Head. The truss manufacturer made the trusses 1.5 inches longer than they should have been. Nobody's going to catch that. Put a subfascia on it, finished it out. Surveyor comes out at the end of the job. He's measuring the overhang and not the foundation at that point. We had to go back in, stage up, cut 1.5 inches off of the whole fascia going down the side, kick it back in between each of the studs. That's all technical stuff, but put a lot of people in danger for that much, where it could have been done through an administrative procedure. So I want to applaud the town for taking that under consideration. I think Wes is right on point with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else like to be heard? This time I close the public hearing.
Thanks, Philip. Council, does anybody have any questions or discussion on this ZTA?
So a rare occasion, it'd be once in the last 10 years down in Nags Head? Is that what you think?
I don't have the exact
All right.
number of cases.
It puts a lot of pressure on you, though. Yes and no?
No more than a typical day.
That's what I was looking for. 'Cause they're all sitting out here and up here. Okay, all right. So essentially, it's left with him to, so it doesn't have to come to us
Well, and it,
as an amendment or an
amend the
exception
code
or
or
whatever.
variance
Yeah,
and all
everything
this
else. that
yeah,
happens.
and
Okay.
because we've got these parameters in here, it's not arbitrary, you
Right.
know, and the word is the zoning administrator may. So again, that,
Yeah. 10% on a 10-foot setback is 1 foot. That may or may not be a lot, depending on what the situation is.
yes.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, that was the maximum. Okay.
Well, good faith can be difficult to determine, so.
Right.
On that comment, if I may, so if there were a situation where it was questionable in the zoning administrator's mind, or in this case, if it was questionable for me, I would defer to the Board of Adjustment. I would let them make the decision before I made the decision. I wouldn't make a call either way. I would say, I'm not sure. You can take this to the Board of Adjustment and get their opinion on it. So that is the possibility as well.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No, I think this is reasonable and other towns have adopted it. And, you know, we've had our lot surveyed probably 10 times over the past 30 years. I don't think the survey sticks are always in the same place. So a lot of this is really difficult to do. And I think when people are making a good faith effort and doing their best, you can't be but so punitive.
Okay. So is there a motion to adopt ZTA 2603?
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion to adopt is approved for ZTA 2603. Okay. Next, we're on a roll. Our next public hearing is item number 10, which is on page 34 in your books, and I'll hand it back over to Philip.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I now open public hearing to consider ZTA 2026-04, a zoning text amendment application submitted by the town of Southern Shores to amend Town Code Section 36-202D4 and 36-202D5 to establish a 10-foot side yard setback requirement and a 20-foot rear yard setback requirement for generators, accessory structures up to 144 square feet, pool equipment, mechanical equipment, HVAC, and their associated platforms in the RS1 zoning district. This time I call town staff to the podium.
Thank you again, sir. At the May 5th, 2026 council meeting, council directed staff to draft a ZTA that accompanied ZTA-2026-01 that includes generators, 144 square foot accessory structures, and other service equipment that town staff recommends. As a result, town staff has drafted ZTA-2026-04, which includes proposed amendments to Town Code Section 36-202D4 and D5 to establish a 10-foot side yard setback requirement and a 20-foot rear yard setback requirement for accessory structures up to 144 square feet, generators, pool equipment, mechanical equipment, HVAC, and their associated platforms in the RS1 zoning district. The direction from council was given following consideration of ZTA-2026-01, which council tabled at the May 5th council meeting, and it was subsequently withdrawn by the applicant. The proposed amendments would allow accessory structures up to 144 square feet, generators, pool equipment, mechanical equipment, HVAC, and their associated platforms to be at least 10 feet from side property lines and 20 feet from rear property lines, instead of 15 feet from side property lines and 25 feet from rear property lines in the RS1 zoning district. Town staff has determined that the proposed amendments are consistent with the town's currently adopted comprehensive land use plan, and town staff recommends approval of the application with the exception of including a 10-foot side yard setback requirement and 20-foot rear yard setback requirement for generators. The town planning board recommended approval 2-1 of the application at the May 18, 2026 planning board meeting, with the exception of establishing a 10-foot minimum side yard setback requirement and a 20-foot minimum rear yard setback requirement for accessory structures up to 144 square feet. I would like to add that, as noted during the public hearing for ZTA 2026-01, that one of the most common concerns that we hear from property owners and contractors is the fact that we do not have different setback requirements for HVAC equipment, pool equipment, and 12 by 12 or smaller sheds. It's not uncommon to see reduced setback requirements for such structures in other jurisdictions. The planning board did not recommend approval of including accessory structures in the proposed language, but they did recommend approval of including generators, pool equipment, and mechanical equipment, HVAC equipment. So I kind of touched on this also in ZTA 2026-01. Because of the different recommendations, you all have a few different options. So number one, you all can adopt the ZTA with town staff's recommended language. Number 2, you all could adopt the ZTA with the planning board's recommended language. Number 3, you could table a decision. Or number 4, you could revise the language and come up with something entirely different, but that would probably have to go back to the planning board. That's all I have, Mr. Hornthal.
Thank you, Mr. Haskett. Mark Martin has signed up to speak.
Mark Martin, still at 191 Wax Myrtle Trail. Couple things on this issue. Been kind of going back through the town, looking at a lot of the older properties that we built over the last 30 years. When the setback was at 10 feet, a lot of times we would put maybe the house went, right up to that 10-foot line. The heat pumps were going into the 10-foot side yard setback. So I'd like to see a consideration for those homes now that were grandfathered in with that side yard setback. So any house at 10 feet, you still want to be able to keep your replacement heat pumps in that side yard where they currently are. So that's one consideration, because you're not going to want to have to move all the lines and everything around to another side of the house. A lot of times what you're seeing is we're screening those off. We're planting around them, try to keep noise down from the neighbors and stuff like that. There's a lot of growth that's gone on in the last, 30 years. So there's a lot of separation already with vegetation between there. So that's just one item. As far as the pool equipment, HVAC generators, if we can get into up to the 10-foot line, if the house is built at the current 15-foot line, I think that solves a lot of problems. A lot of times we may be turning a generator sideways or, perpendicular to the house to make it fit with openings and windows and access points that are all interconnected when you start trying to place all that equipment on one side of the house to minimize all the noise as well. One thing I have happened in the last, since our last meeting, was had two potential clients. One's looking at a pool house. They are trying to block the noise from the house behind them. It's a kind of a catty corner lot, so they're not directly behind it, but there's a pool over there, a rental pool, and they want to put their new pool house to block the noise coming from the other pool. And it's shoving it into the rear yard setback. And I've told them, well, you can't do that now. And you probably won't be able to do it. You might get a little relief. But what we're seeing is that people are trying to use those pool houses to block noise from other folks and giving a little bit of buffer. You're not seeing the pool houses in the middle of the lot on the rectangular lots, because that's where you ultimately want your pool, and you want your pool house on either side. And it kind of helps open up some sight lines on the canal front lots and so forth like that. So I think I've covered everything. Usually what's happening is, I've only built one spec house in town in 30 years, sold that after a couple months sitting on the market and swore I'd never do that again. So it's not the builders that are really coming in and dictating, what our property owners are requesting. A lot of times it's, hey, I want to do this and that and the other. And, we're kind of reining them in and trying to solve a lot of their issues. So this goes a long way to help some of the things, the challenges that we're looking at, and hopefully you'll approve it. Thank you.
Would anyone else who has not signed up like to be heard?
Good morning, all. Andy Ward, Planning Board Chair. I just went through and kind of, having had 2 Planning Board meetings and this being the second council meeting that I've been to on this matter, figured it'd probably be better to just, do some bullet points on, what has transpired since our first meeting on this matter, which was April the 20th. The Planning Board heard ZTA 2026-01. By a unanimous 5-0 vote, we strongly opposed the requested reduction of side and rear yard setbacks for pool sheds or any other accessory structures. However, we were in favor of allowing HVAC and pool equipment platforms the requested 5-foot reduction, excuse me, in both rear and side yard setbacks. That was the recommendation that town council was sent from the planning board on April 20. On May 5th, the town council, you all held a public hearing for 2026-01 and tabled it in order for the town staff to include additional language regarding generators and also to rework the accessory structure language from the initial ZTA. May 18th, the planning board met with only 3 members present. We discussed the merits of the revamped ZTA, now known as ZTA 2026-04, which is what we are looking at today. At this point, staff had added generators to be included with pool and HVAC mechanical equipment platforms and had reduced the accessory structure size by 6 square feet from 150 to 144. In summary, on April 20th, the full planning board was unanimously opposed by a 5-0 vote to any setback reduction for any type of accessory structure other than platforms for mechanical equipment. By a simple majority on May 18th, we reinforced our action taken on April 20th and recommended as such to town council. I, along with several other planning board members, have somewhat been puzzled why staff would recommend a setback reduction for accessory structures other than somehow, broadly speaking, a setback reduction might possibly be consistent with the town's currently adopted land use plan. I don't think that is the case here. From the last sentence, if you'll entertain me reading this, from the last sentence of the intent of section 36202 RS1 Single Family Residential District, it says, in order to meet this intent, the density of population in the district is managed by the establishment of minimum lot sizes, building setbacks, height limits, parking regulations, and occupancy limits for single-family residences. To paraphrase what the mayor said at your last meeting, these are the core tenets of our zoning ordinances that we hold dearly onto our town, full stop. This intent has been consistently endorsed over the years by a vast majority of our residents as well as our seasonal visitors. To vary from this original version or vision of our town would run counter to the wishes and desires of its residents alike. The planning board has been adamant in our opposition to any setback reduction for any accessory structure other than mechanical platforms, full stop. Any questions from me as the chairman of the planning board? Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Would anyone else like to be heard? This time I close the public hearing, Madam Mayor.
Thanks, Philip. Council, who wants to start discussion?
Well, I'll start. I'm pretty much a hard no on this issue. I've lived this. My house was built in the 80s. The setbacks were 10 feet. It didn't make a lot of difference because people built little houses in the middle of their lots, and my next door neighbor was 50 feet away because it was a flat top. A few years later, the flat top gets knocked down. After a few years, construction starts. I love my next door neighbors. They're wonderful people, but they built on every available inch of that property. And I was so grateful that we had 15-foot setbacks, or their heating and air equipment and everything else would have been next to my house. There are noise issues here. There are visual issues. I mean, my view to the south was pretty much obliterated anyway, but to have to look at everybody's pool equipment and generators and air conditioning units would have been a little bit more to bear. So I'm a no on this. I'm willing to listen to anybody, but I think there's just a reality that you buy a piece of property, it comes with certain restrictions, and you have to build within those restrictions. Now, I don't really have a backyard, so I'm not as familiar with those backyard issues, and I may be a little more flexible on that. But the side, you're looking at a density issues. You're looking at also protecting older properties that have been here for a long time that don't encroach on every single available inch of property to construct on. And I think unless we want to be looking in our neighbors' windows and listening to their air conditioning units, I'm a no on this.
Thanks, Paul. Anyone else?
I'll add a little bit. I've discussed this in kind of a generic form with several different people, and I think the folks, my sense is that they like the initial setbacks that have been in place for a longer period of time. My neighbor put in a pool, young family, 2 kids, and some of his pool equipment is probably right up to the property, not right up to the property line, right up to his neighbor's setback. And I think he got some complaints about the noise from the pool equipment. And it's even screened a little bit by the neighbor's garage. So the notion here of noise and noise abatement, whether there's a structure around it or there's some planting or whatever else, that will help. But I think the notion here, again, is that you want to keep separation between units and that, and any structures and equipment.
Well, I guess I'll weigh in here. I walked off the feet between my neighbors' setback for their equipment. And if they put a generator 10 feet off the line, I'd be up all night. No, I would be up all night. And my generator's in the back of the yard, and it's loud enough, and it's 30 feet off the line on the other side of the house. And it's loud enough when it's on, but fortunately it only goes on when that's it. But more importantly, I mean, I walked it off from the equipment that we have on the side of the house. It was 15 feet to the line. And my neighbor fortunately built next door a house 3 years ago, and he put the equipment there about 20 feet off. It's noisy. It's noisy on both sides, but we kind of agreed that we would have the noise together on that side of the house, and we would have it anywhere else. So I want to leave the setbacks right where they're at. I look at that at 2 things. That's the uniqueness about this town, the land use plan. But I just think that it's plenty right now. I'm one of those guys that probably used every inch of the property we could just about when we built. But we were well within the guidelines, and Mark built the house. He's not here, but he built it. And I was well aware of I learned a lot about building when we built here. Didn't have that problem in other parts of the country where we built, or where we lived. So I just think we're there, number one. Number two, and this may be a little ugly, I hope I don't offend anybody. I don't want the town to look like Nags Head and Double Hills. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel. I look down there and I walk down Ocean Boulevard or the beach road, and I look at the way those things are up against each other like this, lot line to lot line, and it just, give me a break. I mean, you could spit into the next house. And I've lived near those places in Philadelphia where literally the row houses are that way. So with that said, I'm opposed. I want to leave it exactly where it is. Me too. Today.
Matt,
Me?
you want to weigh in?
I can go through a number of situations where we've had to redesign indents into housing and things like that. There's one we're building right now where we've actually had to cut in to allow the HVAC situation. Now, this doesn't have more coverage. It's all still compliant with 30% coverage. But when you're building a single story flat roof home like we do, it tends to take up a lot of width footprint wise on the lot. And often we have to get kind of stupid creative to put HVAC equipment into the property. There's a house being built right now on Dolphin Run. If you look at theirs, the HVAC is actually shoved up probably in, I won't say this, but it's probably too close to the house than it should be because of this. So, I mean, I think the equipment stands within the setback. There are so many in town currently. My neighbor's is like 6 feet. The house next to me used to have theirs 1 foot off the property line. It just is what it is. Frank Stick thought 10 foot was good enough. That's what my deed says. It's what my dad's house was. It's what, probably 80% of the structures in town were built to. It's only been about the last 20% that were built to the 15 feet. And the initial part of the 15 feet, I don't even think they were capturing mechanical equipment in that consideration. It was allowed in the setback. So it's only really been a personal thing. This is something that often comes from our owners. When we have to relocate the pool equipment to the rear or something like that, they often get kind of upset, and then they say things about council members. I say, well, I'm on council, but we can't change it. It comes up more than you think. And as Mark said, I've never built a spec house. This is just something I get from my homeowners and from your neighbors and fellow citizens. The 5-foot decibel levels, they're not going to change much. I'm right here, I'm right there. You're going to get the same decibel reading. It's about 3 decibel differences. Like I said, older HVAC equipment sits there and screams no matter where it is. Newer HVAC equipment hums. I mean, it's just, there's no two ways about it. I think this would be a good thing. It would actually be a return to the original intent of the town, to not try to micromanage what the neighbor's doing so much with their open space. What bothers me more, I think, about our setback rules than necessarily, I mean, I can understand people not wanting pool cabanas and things like that. The equipment to me is a no-brainer, especially when you start talking propane tanks, solar assembly, stuff like that. Generators, I can kind of understand your thought, Mark. Some of the enclosures we build, they're lower decibel ratings than the HVAC equipment, so that's independent.
We put in a new one and it still screams.
Yeah, but the
Probably bought the wrong one.
big thing is the rear yard. Like, I just think, play sets and garden sheds and firewood storage, and that's something for me personally, firewood storage, because you don't want it close to that. I mean, we're just so rigid about this stuff. I mean, why can't I have a greenhouse in the rear yard setback? I still do not understand that. And I think that was what one of the planning board members was commenting when they were hearing this. I mean, it's just, why do we want to be that rigid about it? And if this particular language isn't amenable to the rest of y'all, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I understand that, but I really think there needs to be a larger discussion about why we fixate on this so much. I mean, I gave some incorrect math at the last meeting, but I corrected it this one. We have setbacks represent 9,500 square feet, 47% of the lot. If this accessory structure is allowed to slip into it a little bit, most of it would be about 60 square feet would be able to go into the square, not all 144, just 60 of it. And that would be 47.3% would still remain as open space. But I can't put my greenhouse in the rear setback, or I can't, it's just, and all the other things we allow in the setback, I can put a portable generator in the setback next to your house and run it all day long. I mean, it's just, if this particular version of this is not amenable to y'all, I mean, I really understand that change is difficult, but drive around town, there's a lot of stuff in the setback that's non-conforming as we speak. And the open space is important, as Chairperson Ward said. I think it's a critical thing to the town. I don't think this is a violation of that. That's my 2 cents. And again, feel like I have to be a mouthpiece, and but it's from our homeowners that we're talking to. I mean, it's like they want to, oh, can I put that up there? Can I put a garden shed? No, sorry, you can't put a garden shed. We have to move it over here inside of here. I mean, it's just it's silly in my opinion. And maybe, I mean, I understand Paul is concerned about noise with your neighbor. I just got an as-built for a house, brand new house for a customer. We're at like 19% lot coverage. There's plenty of open space. I mean, it's all to each individual customer's satisfaction. So that's what it comes down to. And I think in the old days in town, we didn't worry so much about what everybody was doing in their backyard. And now we do, and I wish we didn't. And I think that's my 2 cents.
We all are homeowners here.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No,
I couldn't agree, and you're right. I agree with you, but I can't imagine even at 15 feet, a 12 by 12 structure next door.
Yeah.
If you place it, I just can't imagine it. I'll be honest with you, okay?
Even at 15 feet.
Even at 15 feet, I can't imagine a 12 by 12.
But the house can be there.
The house is there already, yeah. But he has room. He could come off of there and still have, his house sits about 25 feet off. So to make a long story short, if he put one at 15 feet, a 12 by 12, I just can't imagine it sitting there. That's me looking at it. I don't know why. I tried to be as objective as possible. Okay.
Well, and
I mean, my neighbor on the other side, he parks his motorhome out there.
Yeah.
But I've got it covered up with big trees. So does he. Okay. I mean, so the homeowners do what they want to do. I mean, they put up, we get along fine. I mean,
Well, they don't put up
Sorry.
Sheds, they don't put sheds in the existing.
Yeah, they didn't put a shed up, they just put a motorhome there, big deal, but it's blocked and, there's no law against that, or there's no ordinance against the
Yeah.
the motorhome being there, up at the fence.
There
line.
is some.
Yeah,
in the
so
covenants.
anyway, I'm with you. I hear loud and clear, I've been open to something that may be a little easier, but
Yeah.
there's just something about open sight lines here and closed in properties. And I just think 15 feet is not a lot to me. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I also think your view might change if
Yeah.
you're moving into a community and building a house. You want the most you can have and everything you want. After you live here, what you value is your privacy and having a little space from folks. So I'm not for giving up that space because I know what would happen next to me. And, I think, like you said, it is what it is. You buy a piece of property, these are the restrictions, and that's what you have to live with. And that's why we don't look like other communities.
So I just want to thank the planning board, Andy.
Thank you.
For the timeline that you shared today. I think from all this discussion and from your timeline, and from all of staff's efforts, I think we can see that this issue is kind of touchy. This is kind of a touchy issue. And I've gone back and forth. I've probably changed my mind, I don't know, half a dozen times, and I've been on a trip, to thousands of miles away and come back and probably changed my mind several times since I got back. So I would be more comfortable with taking 5 feet off the rear setback, because if you have, not in Paula's case, but if you have 20 feet on your property and 20 feet on your neighbor's property, you got 40 feet. That's a pretty good setback. But that's not what is in this amendment. I am very uncomfortable with the 15 foot, with messing with that. I don't know. It just, in the end, I feel like it is what it is and we should leave it alone.
I don't have a problem with that. I do have a question for Wes real quick related to that. And it's related to nonconformity, because this is a larger concern to me. If somebody has an HVAC stand in the setback right now, often you don't even necessarily see it show up on an as-built if they're changing their equipment or rebuilding the stand, but how would you handle that?
When HVAC company pulls a change-out permit to replace the stand, the unit, they're allowed to replace that.
Yeah, and you let it be. It's not like we force them, because I think that's a legitimate concern.
That's correct.
Anything that's existing, because a lot of stuff, even when we had 10 foot, the stand was still in the 10 foot setback.
Yeah. And we are a town that these zoning text amendments, or the zoning ordinances are enforced by complaint. So it's Mark's neighbor worried about something, or my neighbor worried about something or whatever. So that's how this stuff usually works, is a complaint. And it's always been that way.
Yeah.
And
Always will.
99% of the folks don't understand the ordinances.
Well, that's for sure.
God love you, that's all I can say. When you enforce them.
Thank you, Wes, for all that you do. All right. Are we comfortable with making a motion?
Yeah.
Who would like to make it?
I will.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I move that we deny the adoption of ZTA 26-4.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the denial of this particular ZTA signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
No.
We are 4-1 denying this ZTA. I have a feeling we may see something else down the road about this. It's hard to say.
Well, that was my one question, because I think all your points are really valid, and some I shared, and Mayor and I talked about this a month or so ago. 15 feet is a pretty important number for a lot of reasons. But I do go back to things like that aren't fully built pool cabanas, which I think was a big trigger, or even the like I said, just auxiliary structures like a gardening shed. I mean, I really think that we need to be a little bit more flexible than that. You can't tell you how many times we've had to remove stuff like that to get a development permit for somebody, that something's been in place. And again, some things we should encourage not to be next to the house, like firewood storage and stuff
Right.
like that. So
But not to put anything on there, but, you know, we passed another amendment giving administrative relief to him.
yeah, but that's,
And if somebody, and we're at 15 feet, and let's say a stand is 1 foot over, it's within the 10% allowance, it puts a lot of pressure on him. That's, I think.
I don't quite follow.
Well, he could prove it, even though it was inside the 15 feet.
I think what to Wes's point was,
Yeah.
for one, if it's obvious that there was no effort to meet the setback, he's not going to approve it.
Sometimes
That's
you
not,
can't. I
that's not
agree.
the point
I agree with
for it. But I just think there are some types of things that, and I made the point in the last meeting, like I could build you a patio right next to Mark's house, right on the
Right.
lot line.
Right
I
to
can
lot
put a
line.
fire pit, 24 inches above grade. I can put Adirondacks around it, and I can put a portable Bluetooth speaker and blow you out of your house. And we allow that.
It's a great.
So it's, you know,
Guy
I
across
just,
the canal does it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Don't tell me.
seriously, so I
I
hear
mean,
you.
there's-
there's pros and cons to that.
just like zoning to make sense to the way people live,
Yeah.
and not because of like 5 of us are up here and say, we don't want you to live this certain way. So that's
I mean-
where I come from with it.
I think the council's open to any kind of solution that's reasonable to everybody.
Well-
That's where I mean.
We've
I
got a
wouldn't
long,
disagree with on the setback on the backyard, you know, I think that maybe, you know, on the back, I
So-
don't know, you know. But the side is what gets me, that's.
I'm sensitive to our time and
I know,
the
I'm
budget
sorry.
ordinance we still have, but
Yeah.
I would like to have a continued discussion, because I think the feelings of y'all are on some of the triggers of like mechanical equipment, stuff like that kicks in. I think side yard, maybe there's some genuine consensus among us up there, but rather than sending Wes on I mean, maybe we'll just revisit this in July so we got a long meeting
Okay.
still
All
tonight,
right.
so.
That seems very reasonable. Thank you, council members. Next on our agenda is item number 11. And it's a public hearing for the town manager's recommended budget. Philip, you're up. Page 42 in your books.
Thank you. I now open the public hearing for the town manager's recommended budget for the fiscal year 2026 to 2027. At this time, I call Cliff Ogburn to the podium.
So the manager's recommended budget that was presented to you in May has not changed. There's been no changes to that. So that same budget is in front of you now for consideration and for the public hearing. So, you know, normally I would stand up here and go through a list of things that have changed, but we don't have any changes to share.
So
How, after we balance this with the restricted fund,
Yes, sir.
how much money is left?
2.1, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, I saw
Recommending that you use 537,000 to balance. At the end of June
It's 3.5.
of 25, June of 2025 is the last audited number that we have. We had $6.2 million in undesignated, but 3.5 million of that is in reserved as untouchable. So that left us with 2.7, 537,000. We'd be at $2.1 million remaining for spendable fund balance, or 18.53%. And that's, again, based on the June 25 number. That could go up or go down based on, right now, we're thinking revenues over expenditures, but we got another month.
Okay, somewhere in that 2-1 neighborhood.
2-1, yes. And
2-2, yeah.
which historically, we had built up quite a bit of fund balance in FY '23, but after the bridge was built, it went down to 2 million. So we're still slightly above after
We
the bridge
spent
was
money on a
built.
bridge, we spent money on Skyline, I mean,
Yeah.
out of that, we still have 2.2, okay.
And that doesn't book any unexpended revenue from this year
Right.
either, so.
Right. Any other questions?
No one has signed up to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak? This time I'll close the public hearing.
Thanks, Philip. Cliff, can you share with all of us whether or not you have received any emails concerning your town manager's proposed budget?
I have not.
I have not received any emails.
I haven't gotten any.
Anyone? Okay. And I haven't heard from anyone. Of course, I was gone for a little while. But anyway, no one has spoken to me about budget. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable with where we are. I also had the question about the fund balance and asked Cliff to put some numbers together. And one of the things I asked him was, we apparently, in 2012, the minimum was 1.75 million. And then in 2020, we moved it to 3 million. So that was 8 years. It just sat there at 1.75. And then in 2023, with the pretty big change of incorporating the fire department, we moved it from 3 million to 3.5 million. So it's been sitting at 3.5 million now for right about 3 years. And we did have language that said specifically we're doing that because of fire services. We may want to look at just changing that to say we're going to stay at 3.5 million. But we've also asked our consultant to give us an opinion of what they think about the 3.5 million. How often should you even look at your that number? Is every 5 years reasonable? Is every 3? I mean, questions like that. So just so that we're comfortable about where that number is, and because how should I put this? Things cost a lot more than they used to.
Well, that only covers 25% of the budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Is what it does. And then there's different limitations depending on where you're at. Who knows how much is enough?
Yeah,
Okay, it all
exactly.
depends
But
on what the council feels like and what the municipality does, I think. And so, I hate to say this, I'm used to 40%.
There you go. Okay,
But
so
that's-
we'll get some.
You get
weigh in
feedback,
from-
you get
yeah.
different things to
So-
where, because, especially here on the Outer Banks.
Yeah, I mean, with business
It's not
normally,
like being in Richmond, I'm sorry. It's here on the Outer Banks where things can happen and we can't forecast.
And because of that, if you include the 3.5,
Yeah,
we're at almost 50%.
okay, yeah, so,
Matt?
well, I was just gonna say, Mark, in business, you do want that kind of
yeah, I know.
mistake, but our ad valorem tax, I mean, there's a certain expectation of we're going to collect a certain revenue regardless of, what the economy or whatnot does. I mean, there's a certain amount of self-funding that's built into, it's different than a business.
Yeah,
It's more like hurricane damage or
Yeah, it's
something
like
like that.
it's an
We
insurance
picked up
policy.
from Hurricane Dorian, I think that was like 600 grand out
Yeah.
of pocket right away. So,
If you don't have the visitors, you don't have the income.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Plain and simple. I mean,
Plain and simple.
it's insurance
Right.
to a degree that you don't get a return on until the day you got to execute it. Are we still for questions yet?
Any questions? Yes, sorry.
So the salary issues that you undertook with the survey and
Yes.
everything. and
Yeah,
That's included in here as well?
Yes,
the
sir.
Adjustments
Yes, sir.
that we would make to catch people up, to be more competitive? Or
Correct.
as competitive?
Right. The goal was to be at or above
Okay,
average.
all right. I think that's important to remain.
Absolutely,
remain,
yeah.
in the money like that.
Employee recruitment and retention
Yeah.
is
Okay.
really important.
All right.
So there's no tax increase
Correct.
in this. Okay, so that's important for citizens. And as
Probably why
far
we
as-
didn't get comments
This year.
this year.
Yeah, we'd have a bigger crowd here if we're having a tax increase. As far as the individual departments, are there cuts to any of these departments or?
And there are cuts from what was requested to what I recommended. I don't have that exact figure, but we did make some cuts to every department. But I don't have.
Are they funded to the extent they were funded last year?
They, let me see. Let's see if I could go down the list. With the streets, bridges, and canals, I mean, obviously the projects, that's down 200. Public Works Department is down about 50. Police, fire is, they're all at, with the exception of Public Works, I think they're all at or above.
And do we have positions now that are funded but not filled?
We have vacancies. I think we have one vacancy or two vacancies.
It's confusing because when we did the SRO, my intention was that was going to be a separate part-time position. And I've learned that that position is being paid out of my 15th full-time sworn position. And I really want that back. And I want that part-time SRO to be funded for the whole school year this year. We have two exceptional, good retired police officers to do it. But if I had known that that was going to take the 15th position, I probably would have said something. I didn't know it at the time. So technically, we have one position right now. But I'd like to have that 15th position back and then have the addition of a part-time position. So it would be 15 and a half. The other thing I would just like to say that I probably should have included in the budget is that we've got some interviews coming up here within the next week, and we're starting to get some good applicants, but they're pretty well seasoned, and we can't pay them more at the starting rate. So we're going to have to look at trying to increase that. We've got some that have 15 years of experience or more, and I want to be able to at least offer them a little bit more than what the starting salary for that
What about the fire department?
They're fully staffed.
So, council, I'm sensing that questions are done for now. Okay. It looks like we need to do three questions. Things. The first one is a motion to approve fiscal year 2026-2027 budget ordinance 2026-06-01. So that is my motion that I just put out here. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Rob seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. We have a adopted budget ordinance. The next motion is the adoption of the pay and classification study. Any questions about that for discussion? No. So I will make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 pay and classification scale.
Second.
There's a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Pay and classification study is adopted. The third part of this is the fire department project ordinance, 2026-06-02. We haven't talked about this. It's about an apparatus and all of the money and the process that's involved, which is quite a process these days.
Yeah, I've mentioned to you all that we have a fire engine that's in the 2029 budget. This is separate from that. It takes about if we ordered a fire engine now, it would take about 3 years to take possession of that, which makes financing very difficult. But at your July meeting, we'll bring forward a contract, or we'll bring forward the mechanism by which we're going to initiate the purchase of that fire engine. But this particular, for the consideration of the fire department project ordinance, this came out of the audit. The auditors were here, and the recommendation was that we put this in place because there is such a large amount of assets. When you take the building and fire engines are over $1 million, this keeps those assets in a separate project ordinance.
Okay, so a motion to approve Fire Department Project Ordinance 2026-06-02. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Is the passing of this so that we can buy a fire engine in 3 years? Is that what?
No, sir. It's a separate and apart.
Okay, it's an ordinance to.
It maintains
To
the
finance
assets. It just simply keeps the assets of the fire department in its own project ordinance.
It's a separate
Just-
entity. Okay.
It's for accounting purposes only.
You guys are at it again. The accounting people, it's a separate asset on the
It's
balance
better than
sheet.
having
Yeah,
the
it's better to have it
attorneys
in
at
the-
it again.
it's
So,
right, yeah,
so
they
we'll-
separated it.
I'll take it. I just got Phil's attention when I said that.
Okay, you did that.
And
right.
this budget, it allows you to keep it separate because there's not a lot of change. I mean, the debt payment is what it is. And
Right.
so you just kind of put it off to the side.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Our project ordinance is approved.
You
I
did
think
not
that's
just
a-
buy a fire
I
truck.
have I have a question. I know exactly where you're putting it over there. Okay, so that's fine.
Okay,
I'll be honest with you, I didn't catch the discussion on the police or whatever. So there isn't, I know this is passed, the budget. There's a 15 person in there, but it's not in there. So that's something for the staff to work out. Is that what I'm guessing
That's
here?
what I would request.
Huh?
That's what I would
And if you have
request.
to have a budget amendment later on in the year, which we see all the time here, where you're moving stuff around, is that what you're talking about down the road?
We authorize interdepartmental transfer, line transfer authorization.
Okay. That just was trying to be clear there. Okay. All right. Thank you.
okay.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Cliff. Next item, council, is item 12, which is on page 70 of your package. That's page 70, which is a planning board appointment. Wes, do you want to walk us through this?
Yes, ma'am. One last time, good morning. Planning Board member Ed Lawler, his term is set to expire on June 30th. And as is customary, asked him if he's interested in serving another term, 3-year term. He indicated that he was. It would be an honor. So we are recommending that you all reappoint Mr. Ed Lawler as a regular member on the Planning Board with a term that begins July 1, 2026 and expires June 30, 2029.
Thanks, Wes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do we know when he first went on planning board?
I think it's on the second page.
It's not.
I think it was
It's not.
28, I think it was 2018 or 2019.
18.
It's not, yeah, I think it's 18 or 19.
Because he was feeling a partial, apparently. Yeah, yeah, when Mr. Weeder passed away.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah,
think
I was
that's-
there for all of that. Okay. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I-
Motion to approve the reappointment of Ed Lawler.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. We want to thank Mr. Ed Lawler for serving on our planning board for all these many years. It's not an easy job. Sorry, Matt.
I think Ed's done a fantastic job, and I'm happy that he's still willing to serve. I do think we need to think about some sort of level of rotation, because the reason we don't get applicants, because I've talked to people, is because they don't think they're ever going to get up there. And that's just, I mean, it's food for thought more than anything.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I've got a number of people like, I'd love to get on there, but I mean, some of these alternates were turned down 2 or 3 times because there's no vacancy. So I just think it's something we might want to explore.
I'm sorry, I forgot to include that we have received an application from one resident since you've all got since you've all received your package. We do have one application from a resident who's interested in serving on the board. We'll keep that in the file until there's another
Until there's a vacancy?
Until there's a vacancy.
See, that's my point. I hate to keep these people on the shelf, and maybe we just need to pack the court and double the size of the planning board. I'm teasing, obviously.
But you have 2 in reserve all the time on plan.
Yeah, we have 2 alternates in both of those
I'm with
positions
you, a
are.
rotation. I mean.
But Charlie's been up there. He waited to be in the reserve position.
Yeah.
For a
Correct.
while. So,
But you know, I mean, in all candor, I mean, the council rotates.
Yep.
By election,
mhm.
We did.
plain and simple. So that might be a good idea I'm glad people are interested. That's what's really cool. is You got folks who are
Yes.
interested.
Yeah.
Who want to be part of the process. So,
This might be one of those things where we say we probably need to revisit
Yeah.
at a future meeting. Yeah,
okay.
this whole idea. Okay, council business. Matt, do you want to go first?
I don't have any good dates for you, but we are working on wrapping up the second phase report for the Energy Corridor Committee, and excited to show you all of that come midsummer, I think. And then on top of that, we had a logo reveal party for the Dare Housing Foundation, which was pretty exciting, and website's going live, and things are starting to move in a positive direction on that front. My other comment would be, these daytime meetings are ruining my life, so I'd love to go to the evening again. I've been responding to business almost the whole time we've been up here and not been able to give it my full attention, so that's my last comment.
Thank you, Matt. Paula?
Well, just briefly, I'd like to really reiterate what Cliff's thanks to Charlie Reese for pulling together that letter on the Mid-Currituck Bridge. I mean, I helped, as other people did, edit and proof that a little bit and try to get it circulated in the community. And we had great support for signing that letter. And I just think Charlie's initiative on that is wonderful. And we need to make some plans to follow through. The only other thing, we did have a Memorial Day service at the cemetery, and it was really very well attended.
Yeah.
And the cemetery does look much nicer, in large part due to the fact that Sheila, our town clerk, helped me clean it up a little bit before the Memorial Day service, and our public works people were on top of it. So I think we're making real progress there.
Thanks, Paul. Mark?
Okay, real quickly, through March, occupancy tax, actually tax collected is flat. The fiscal year that we're in, 25, 26, kind of disappointing to some degree. We expected a little bit of increase. And then the meals tax is also flat, 0.5%. And really the meals tax is really down if you look at it, because that's because of inflation. The cost for a plate of food has gone up substantially, and so taxes are there, but the meals served are down when you talk to any of the restaurant owners and that are out there. Real quickly, there is some concern, and it's in, Lee publishes it, but there's concern about we might go up the prices of fuel, visitors coming, so we voted at the tour board to spend an extra $325,000 that we had in restricted funds in the general fund to promote advertising in key markets, which is Virginia Beach, Richmond, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Charlotte, Raleigh, to encourage visitors to come this summer. There's no question the price of gas does affect what people do and then what they spend once they're here too. So we're doing everything we can to attract folks to come visit. Okay.
Thanks, Mark. Rob?
I also attended the Memorial Day service at the cemetery, and Paul and I were there, represent the town, and I took some photos. I gave them to Mary, so they may be posted up onto the website. And it was very well attended. Two, regarding, and this is probably for future discussion, I don't know if we want to approach current TV folks to actually do some video of all of the traffic that comes on to the Outer Banks during the summer, starting in Currituck County, coming across the bridge, and in Southern Shores up in Duck and further up. I mean, if you want to try to influence people with getting federal funds to build the Mid-Currituck Bridge, that might be effective. There's upsides and downsides to doing that, and I understand that, but we could possibly, discuss that further.
All right, thanks, Rob. Our next council meeting is July the 7th. I did want to put a shout out to both our staff and our contractor for substantial completion of the East Dogwood street improvement project. I actually drove on it this morning, and it was lovely. And then my last thing that I wanted to mention, there is a memorial service a week from today at 1 o'clock in Duck, at Duck Church, for Mayor Tom Bennett, and his family will be there. So I know it's been communicated by town, but I did want to mention it today. I want to thank everyone that put together this very robust agenda and for sticking with it. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, everyone.